you. So item 4.0, call back to order, Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Laura Monroe, a third grade student from Ethel Baker School. Here. Is it someplace for her to stand on? Lift the microphone. Okay, anytime you're ready.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic of which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Monroe, will you please stay there? The stellar student we celebrate today is Laura Monroe. Laura is a third grade student at Ethel Baker Elementary School. Laura was nominated by, am I pronouncing your name right? Laura? My apologies. Laura was nominated by her former teacher, Julie Gordon. Ms. Gordon said that Laura should be nominated for 3 reasons. Number 1, her academics. Number 2, her citizenship. And number 3, her consistency. Last year, as a second grader, Laura was regularly scoring at the top of her class. Specifically, she excelled in both mathematics and reading, receiving the highest scores amongst her peers. In addition, whenever she was needed, Laura made herself available to her classmates as an in-class tutor and an all-around friendly helper. Because of her great attitude and notable citizenship, last year Laura was chosen over dozens of other student candidates to ask a question to the famous Dr. Ben Carson during his visit to Ethel Baker Elementary. Ms. Gordon noted that Laura can always be counted on to assist her peers with learning and is always cheerful and enthusiastic when it's time to play. The Board of Education is proud to recognize Laura Monroe as our stellar student. So now is your opportunity. You may say a few words.
It always gets.
I would want to thank my mom and my family and Miss Gordon for telling the people here that I was a good student to get this award.
We have here a certificate of appreciation to Laura Monroe from the Sac City Unified School District. You're very welcome. This photo op time, we get to focus.
This meeting of the Sacramento City School Board is being videotaped in its entirety and will be cablecast without interruption, with the exception of technical problems, on Metro Cable 14, the Government Affairs channel on Comcast and Sure West cable systems. Today's meeting will air Sunday, September 21st at 9 a.m., Monday, September 22nd at noon, and webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. Members of the audience wishing to address the board should fill out a speaker identification form located in the back of the community room and give it to Chief Communications Officer, Mr. Ross, to my right, your left, prior to the conclusion of the item's presentation. Please speak clearly into the microphone when addressing the board, and state your name for the record. Responses to the questions by the public will be posted on the district website prior to the next board meeting. Please limit comments during public comment to items not listed on the agenda. If you are found to be commenting on an item that is on the agenda, you will be asked to defer until your item comes up on the agenda. Please turn off all cell phones or place them on silent or vibrate.
Thank you, Vice President Pritchett. Item 5.0, announcement of action taken in closed session. Counselor?
There are two announcements out of closed session. One announcement, which I will make regarding a litigation measure, and another announcement that will be made by the superintendent. My announcement is that by a vote of 4 affirmative votes, with board members Hanson and Rodriguez absent, approved a special education matter known as OAH case number 2014-080030. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's my announcement.
Superintendent?
I'm pleased to announce that the board, by a vote of 4-0, with board members Hanson and Rodriguez absent, approved the appointment of Doyle Martin as the new principal of Parkway Elementary School. Mr. Martin planned to be here this evening, as is a tradition. However, he had a family emergency that called him away, so otherwise he would be here. But we're very proud to announce that, and we feel that Mr. Martin will do a wonderful job of not only leading the school, but he talked a lot about really working with parents and the school community.
Thank you. Item 6.0, agenda adoption. I have a motion to move. I have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 7.0, special presentation. 7.1, Wellness Champions Recognition. Ms. Chronic?
Superintendent Bonda, and board members. It is my great pleasure to be here tonight to recognize some very special people who have made amazing contributions to the health and wellness of our students, our schools, and our communities. And what I'd like to do right now is call them up. But before I do that, I'd also like to introduce Alexis, who's one of our school nurses. So if I could call up Tim Keenan. Not yet. And I guess I'll do this one at a time. That may make most sense. And then you can stay up. So, Tim Keenan is a parent at OW Early Wine. And Tim has been a long-standing supporter of wellness activities at OW Early Wine. You'll be amazed at what he's done. He was instrumental in the expansion of their garden program. He started their Earth Day celebrations, wrote grants which allowed the site to purchase tools and supplies, co-taught with teachers in the areas of gardening, nature, and nutrition, coordinated Sac State nursing students regarding bike and helmet safety, created Early Wine's Purple Pride team, who researched and planned green improvements, collaborated with SUSD Food Service to provide produce for students to experience different types of fruits and vegetables in their lessons, and brought to the site a partnership with Slow Food, which donated funds toward their garden. And this is only a partial list. He is a wellness champion in every sense of the word. And Tim, you were nominated, just so you'll know, by Diana Flores from the nutrition supervisor, with our nutrition department. So thank you for all that you have done. You're amazing. So, and this is for you. And some people may not be here, but I'm going to call them, and if they're not here, I'll just give you a little snippet of what they've done. Is Jen Lux here? Oh, great. Yay. Yeah. Oops. Yeah. So Jen is another one of our champions. She is a parent at Caleb Greenwood Elementary, and she and Principal Amy Witten have led the charge for a healthier school environment at Caleb Greenwood. The site has taken a stand for student health and wellness, increasing opportunities for physical activity, prioritizing social and emotional learning, and establishing healthier guidelines for school events, fundraisers, and incentives. Caleb Greenwood has taken a mandate and transformed it into a school culture change. With the support of teachers and parents, the response has been overwhelmingly positive, and the results have been tangible. Caleb Greenwood's suspension rate has decreased dramatically, and the number of behavior referrals has decreased as well. And Jen, you were nominated by the Coordinated School Health Committee. And thank you for all that you have done. She's also accepting on behalf of Amy Witten, who can't be here tonight. Next, is Jennifer Sparks here? Oh, yay. I'm so glad. Okay. And Jennifer is going to be she worked very closely with Tawny Lambert, one of our school nurses at Ethel I. Baker. So Tawny and Jennifer teamed up at Ethel I. Baker to increase food and nutrition literacy. They hosted a class called Cooking with Sparks to increase interest and skills in preparing healthy meals from whole foods. The pair were surprised by how many students could not name common fruits and vegetables. Tawny and Jennifer took 14 kids to celebrity chef Jamie Oliver's Big Rig, where they cooked up omelets and washed dishes. The staff of the Big Rig made a visit to the school as well. Other topics covered in the classes were earth-sustaining practices such as reusing, recycling, gardening, plus the farm-to-fork movement, and job opportunities in our agriculture-rich area. So congratulations, and thank you so much. We're pretty lucky as a district to have these champions. Gloria Chung is not able to be here. She's one of our champions, but I'm going to ask Gerardo to come up and accept it on her behalf. Sort of like the Academy Awards. So Gloria Chung is one of our staff here at the district. She works in the budget department. And Gloria is truly an example of SUSD staff and students for what it means to exercise and eat healthy. She led a group of 12 staff to complete a half marathon. Gloria kept motivating her team to run or walk the marathon. And those who did it could not have done it without her. And if it were not for her continued motivation and support. In addition, she encourages the group to eat healthy by bringing healthy snacks. Thank you, Gloria. And on behalf of her, Gerardo, for leading with an example of what it means to be healthy. And actually, Gloria was nominated by Gerardo. So, there you go. And I just want to make sure, is Madeline Strickland here? Oh, great. We're doing well. So this is Madeline. She is now a senior at New Tech High School. So she's one of our students. And Madeline is a remarkable young woman and a wellness champion. Maddie, as she's called, is a multimedia peer educator for the teen health site Teen Source. She writes blogs and makes videos to help other teens learn about reproductive health, their rights, and healthy relationships. This past year, Maddie won Planned Parenthood Affiliates of California very first Youth Advocate Award, which is very impressive. She created a video detailing her efforts to help spread health information to her peers. She is currently working on her most ambitious effort to this date, planning a women's health conference for her senior project. She is a creative and industrious student who strives to educate and support young women to make healthy decisions for their bodies and minds. And she was actually nominated by Planned Parenthood educator Tessa Taft. Thank you so much for all that you do. There are two people that can't be here tonight, so I just want to acknowledge them. I won't read their whole thing. But one is Tyler Marr with Health Corps at American Legion. And he has moved on, as many of our Health Corps staff do. But he really embodied sort of the spirit of what Health Corps is all about through mentorship programs, and we wish him well. The other one is the City of Sacramento, the START program. And they're really leading the way in Healthy Behaviors Initiative in the after-school programs. And by using this initiative and the infrastructure, they are really developing some exemplary practices in healthy eating, physical activity, and food security. So thank you to the START program, and thank you to Tyler. And we will get this to the START program because they're just right here, down the hall. And lastly, but not least, I would like to invite Heather Deckert to come up. So Heather is our Sac City Unified School District PE coordinator. And she has been a wellness champion in the district for many, many, many years. She is the district, as I said, PE coordinator, and she is president of the California Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance Association. She has truly raised the bar for physical education in our district and educates PE teachers on how to make accommodations for activities for students with special needs. She has chaired the Coordinated School Health Committee, helped write the policy, I might add, and did an amazing job with that, engaged multiple community partners, parents, staff, and is a constant inspiration to those around us. And I wanted to say that she has worked tirelessly on this committee. And so, Heather, thank you for all that you've done over all these years. And she doesn't give up. She's so tenacious for that. And thank you for that.
Thank you.
I just want to say that I think we're very lucky to have people like this in our district. We know there are many more, but these people really are our shining stars, and they've done a great job. So thank you, you guys.
Thank you. We have, you want to take a picture first? Photo op time, please.
Face them this way.
You can come in the picture.
Yeah. Get over there and shine.
That's the sideways.
You guys are stealing my thunder. I'll be blind.
Sorry.
Before you leave, Barbara, I think we have some public comment.
We have one public comment on this item from Ralph Merletti.
I'm Ralph Merletti, and when looking at from Fruit Ridge area, good evening, school board president and school board. I'm disappointed to see this this dealing with Planned Parenthood, as I was understanding that wellness was a good item on its own, but seeing that Planned Parenthood is already involved with this, it's rather disappointing, I find, because while they might look good right now at the school, their business model is based on abortion. last year there was a memo that went out that said that every facility that they run had to be able to do them, or something like that. So that's not health care, and I'm disappointed to see that. Maybe they could be more honest if we were allowed to pass out brochures like this before you choose and see what's really going on with that, taking unborn lives, and even the 40 Days for Life campaign, which will be starting again this next week. So again, I'm disappointed to see that Planned Parenthood is involved with that. I had warned before about possible partnerships like that. So please, next time, let's reconsider what we're doing on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others? Thank you. Item 7.2, special recognition of volunteer participants for Woodbine Elementary School Cleanup Day.
Thank you, President Wu. And publicly, I want to thank you for your participation in this event as well.
Thank you.
But I'm going to let a video do all the talking for me. So if we're ready for that.
Oh, movie time.
Yeah, movie time.
On August 15th, 2013, a concerned resident of Southside Sacramento, Mr. Max Mendoza, came to the Sacramento City Unified School District Board of Education meeting. He showed pictures of an overlooked neighborhood surrounding Woodbine Elementary School. That same year, a group of dedicated volunteers and other board members cleaned up, hoping that those in the neighborhood would continue to care for our students and their safe passage on walkable sidewalks. Early in 2014, I met Ms. Angela Rosas, founder of the volunteerism and community-focused group Chicas Latinas de Sacramento. Ms. Rosas is a young and energetic woman who is unstoppable in her vision to gather people of all ages and backgrounds to give back to their community. After hearing of the ongoing need in the Woodbine neighborhood area, Ms. Rosas called into action her volunteer base to support another cleanup of the sidewalks leading to the Woodbine Elementary School campus. Sometimes, all it takes is one person and the proper tools to make a difference and begin a change. Mr. Mendoza's plea to care for children's safety, Ms. Rosa's vision for bringing people together as volunteers in our community, and the commitment of other leaders such as the PTA president, district parents and students, and a few other board members. Collectively, these individuals are making a positive difference for the Woodbine Elementary School children and families, and for the neighborhood around the school. These children now have a safe sidewalk as they walk to school, rather than a sidewalk filled with the hazardous things we found, such as broken glass or rosebush thorns cutting as you walk by, or countless other things that are just not able to be mentioned here. We encourage healthy and safe neighborhoods, but they require care and attention, some level of concern on the part of those who live there, and others who will show they care and are willing to stand with them. There is much more work to be done. I hope that you will continue to join us. Thank you to our volunteers, families, and to those who donated items for our cleanup. But we especially thank the superstar students of our district who came out to help us this year.
Thank you. I'd like to ask Vice President Pritchett to come and help me pass out the certificates, since she wanted to be there and she couldn't because she had her own cleanup that day. I'd like to actually call up one other special person who you'll hear from later. And that's going to be Taisha Velasquez. And I'd like you to be up here as well. She's representing Chicas Latinas.
First, Carla Vargas. Adelaida Lopez. Leslie Lopez. Mr. Max Mendoza. Sonia Gutierrez. Cesar Gutierrez. Francisco Sanchez. Stephanie Salinas. Kate Woolley. Kayvon King. Terrence Gladney. Amina Bayoun. Taisha Velasquez. Sorry, up here. Ashna Singh. Rebecca Pena. Nick Woods. Lisa Torres. Isabella or Bella Ramirez. Taja Saruki. Alana Saruki.
Thank you, Member Rodriguez. Item. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Again, my name is Taisha Velasquez, and I won't take up too much of your time. I just wanted to let you guys know who we are and a little bit about what we do. We are Chicas Latinas de Sacramento, and we are a 501c3 nonprofit as well as a community service organization. We were founded in 2009 by Angela Rosas. Our mission is to make a positive impact in both the Latin and the Sacramento community by improving, connecting, and embracing the culture and the community in which we all call home. Our members give back to our community by utilizing the people and our culture to educate, inspire, and lead. Basically, I'm here to let you know that we do exist. We are here, and we're ready, eager, and willing to provide community support, specifically in the underserved areas in the greater Sacramento. If you have any community service events in the future and you need volunteers or you need a little more help to bring awareness to that event, we're here. Please reach out to us. We are currently involved with quite a few volunteering opportunities that explore the Latin culture, support each other, and give back to the community. I'm sorry, I don't know how to work these. We volunteer, including reading, interacting, and designing activities for children and provide food for the children at the Sacramento Crisis Nursery Center. We volunteer at Weave, Inc., who directly serves with domestic violence survivors as well as sexual assault. We rebuild Homes for Low-Income Families with Rebuilding Together Sacramento. We volunteer with Feeding and Clothing Sacramento's Homeless at Cesar Chavez Park every other Sunday. We staff year-round for cultural and educational events, and I've put a few up there. We did the Feria de Educación, which is the education fair, as well as the AIDS Run Walk, and many, many others. And we also have a Chicas Latinas running group. It's a social group which inspires and supports healthy living. Chicas Latinas de Sacramento seeks to create a culture of volunteerism and civic engagement in our community, one Latina-powered project at a time. If anyone is interested in supporting the Chicas or want to be involved, there are many ways to do so. You can donate, sponsor events, donate services or expertise, serve on our board of directors or our board or our committee, volunteer, or simply spread the word. If anyone is interested in receiving more information, you can find us at our Facebook, our Twitter, and our blog, which gives you a daily and weekly update on what we're currently involved in. And I did have our information up here, but if you guys need the information, we can get it to you later. Thank you for your time and allowing for us to serve in the community.
And I'd like to make one important note to that is that you don't have to be a Chica or Latina to join the group. You can be a male or any other ethnic group. Thank you.
Wait. We have some comments. Vice President Pritchett.
I was just wondering if you could tell us when you guys meet and where.
We have actually different events all the time, but you can find out, again, on our Twitter or Facebook. It's one of our meetup groups is Chicas Latinas de Sacramento on meetup.com. You can find out when we meet there as well. And again, on Facebook is Chicas Latinas as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Item 8.0, public comment.
We have 11 comments on 8.0. I'll read the first 5 names, and if people can please line up behind the podium in the order you're called. Angie Sutherland, Nina Saperstein, Ruka Powers, Frank DeYoung, Beverly Nowak, and actually the 6th card is Tom Piotto.
Good evening, everyone, board members and Superintendent Bonda. I'm Angie Sutherland. I'm the chair of the Community Advisory Committee for Special Education, and we weren't able to attend the last meeting, so we wanted to just give a little update. We had our special education rights workshop on Tuesday night, and we had a really good turnout, so it was a good start of the year. I just want to give a couple thank yous to the communications office, Mr. Ross, for sending out notices to all the special education parents via voicemail, and also to the Office of Family and Community Engagement, just for their support at whenever we're here. They're always just bending over backwards and just very customer service oriented. So they help out a lot. And one of the things that we're hoping to work on this year is we're fortunate within our team to be able to collaborate with the Sacramento Council of PTAs because we're trying to help them with their clothes closet and exploring some internship opportunities for students with special needs to help out in the clothes closet and gain some experience there. So we hope that we can help make a great impact for students and families in that. And our meet and greet is Tuesday night, so we hope that parents will come out and join us 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. here in the Parent Resource Center. They can meet all of the special education team, the program specialists, the supervisors, and the special education director, and then they can network with other parents. So that's what we have going on, and hope everybody has a great school year. Thank you.
Good evening, President Wu, Vice President Pritchett, Superintendent Bonda, and board members. My name is Nina Saferstein. I'm a senior at George Washington Carver School of Arts and Science. I'm joined tonight by parents, staff from the district's 3 Waldorf schools, Carver, Alice Burney, and A.M. Wynn. It's my school's back-to-school night, so I'm here to represent my classmates. I'm here to thank you for your support and understanding about how and why a private gun club can open 250 feet from our school. We conducted a survey of every student at Carver. 75% said they would have serious concerns about their safety if this gun club and shooting range were to open. Vice President Pritchett, we are especially thankful that when you learned of this issue, you immediately showed support and took action. Superintendent Bonda, we welcome you to Carver tomorrow. When you visit, you will see our safe and tranquil school. You will see how this gun club disrupts that sense of safety and how it is in complete opposition to the safe schools culture here in the Sacramento City Unified School District. We are here to ask for your leadership. Please help keep us safe and prevent the opening of this gun club. Thank you for your time and support on this matter.
Thank you.
Good evening, Superintendent Bonda, President Wu, and members of the SCUSD Board of Trustees. My name is Rusha Powers. I'm the parent of students at George Washington Carver High School and Alice Burney, as well as the spouse of a teacher at Carver. And as you may know, many of us are here tonight to address this issue of the planned opening of the Sacramento Gun Club, a shooting range and retail firearms store on Rudio Road, just 252 feet from Carver High School. I want to thank the board for taking immediate action when this situation was first brought to its attention. In particular, Vice President Christina Pritchett stepped up right away to apply her time and resources to investigating the matter and assessing the best way for SCUSD to be effective. Thank you, Mrs. Pritchett. We are grateful for your advocacy, and we are here to ask that you don't give up this fight. We have been told by the Rancho Cordova City Council that because this is a legal business, compliant with their current zoning laws, and because a significant amount of financial investment has already gone into developing this facility, that nothing can be done to change the location of this gun store and shooting range. But just because it is legal does not make it right. Our students at Sac City schools are going to be put at risk because of Rancho Cordova zoning laws and irresponsible business decisions. This is a big problem. As you know, a lot of time, energy, and financial investment have gone into building George Washington Carver into the exciting campus and inspiring community that it is today. In fact, I just learned this. Sac City is the only district in the nation to be home to 3 public Waldorf schools serving pre-K through 12th grade. Carver offers a Waldorf curriculum, and its linked learning pathway is social and environmental justice. This is a school that cares a lot about the world outside its doors. The threat of violence, whether great or small, when guns and ammunition are brought into a neighborhood is real and should not be understated. The parents and community of Carver High School are extremely concerned. If the Sacramento Gun Club opens its doors, I do not doubt that enrollment at Carver will be impacted, students may leave or not come at all, and that the school's mission will be undermined. Many years of hard work could quite quickly begin to unravel. We do not want this. I am here representing many parents and citizens, and on their behalf, I respectfully request that the SCUSD Board continue to advocate vigorously for its students and work with the Rancho Cordova City Council to help them understand that guns and our school children do not mix. The risk to our community and what we have built is far too great. Thank you for hearing my comments.
Thank you, Ms. Powers.
Good evening, President Wu, Superintendent Rodriguez, and the rest of the board members. I thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this evening. I'm here to talk about I want to bring your attention to a summer school program that was offered to students at Hollywood Park and Ethel Phillips. The 2 principals got together, Ms. Luke and Mr. Hernandez, and reached out to all the children in their schools who were below basic and offered them a chance to go to a summer school program for a solid month, with the only requirement being that they had to commit to go to school every single day. And that's what the parents did. And I wish all of you could have seen the energy in the school at Ethel Phillips. It was taught by teachers from Hollywood Park and Ethel Phillips. And the energy in those classrooms and the eagerness of the children to learn, because they were given an opportunity to really work and get some one-on-one help. I can't speak to every child and how they improved or didn't improve, but I can tell you my granddaughter Third grade went from 70% fluency to the high 90s by the end of that 1 month. My grandson is so eager to learn now because of what he went through during that program that he's much improved this year and much more effective in the classroom. And I'm asking this district why we are not looking to do more programs like that. Because when I ask about it, I get told, well, I wouldn't count on them being able to do something like that this year. Reaching out to children and helping children, that's what we're supposed to be about. That's what this district is supposed to be about. And that's the challenge I put before you. We're always told we can't do it for this reason, we can't do it for that. How about making hard decisions and figuring out how we can do it? And thank you very much for your time.
Would you do us a pleasure stating your name for the record, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. Frank DeYoung.
Thank you, Mr.
With Hollywood Park.
My name's Beverly Nowak. I'm happy to be here, Superintendent Banda and board members. I'm a teacher, sixth grade teacher at James Marshall Elementary School in the Rosemont area. I'm here to, I guess, complain about the way the district sets up their classes. When we have overages or under enrollment. This year we had, it was difficult. We had lots of tears and lots of people willing to sacrifice themselves to move on because there was a mistake made and we needed to lose a teacher. But that's not really the biggest problem. The biggest problem was several years ago, I had 45 students in my class for 3 weeks. Now, it is the district's policy to go that whole 3 weeks before class sizes are leveled. Even though those 45 students that were in my class, the district knew about it the year before because we went from 1.5 fifth grades to 1 sixth grade. So I'm pleading with you to take a look at that policy and maybe try to make it less disruptive to children in particular. They get attached to their teachers, parents, and to teachers and other staff. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Superintendent Banda, board members. I'm Tom Picciotto. I'm also a teacher at James Marshall, 4th grade, going to be 4th, 5th as of Monday. Work through it somehow. I want to put a human face on this. The person who is voluntarily surplus herself, she was a victim of the school closures 2 years ago, and her name is Mrs. Johnson. She's a very modest woman. I know she would not want me to be here tonight. I hardly know her, but I've known her long enough to see the dedication and her relationship with the children. And I've been at Marshall this is my 27th year. This is the first time we've had a certificated employee, a teacher who's African American at our school. And she is a terrific model for the African American students, but for our entire student body. And but especially for the African American students to just maybe dream of being a teacher someday when they might not see it otherwise until maybe they're in middle school or high school. And what troubles me is that she had to pretty much fall on her sword to help another teacher who had less seniority to stay at our school to avoid this disruption that Ms. Nowak just referred to. So I'm here. I know nothing's going to change because of it, but she's such a wonderful lady, and the school that receives her is going to benefit greatly. And I just feel really, really bad for her. And we're going to have several split classes at our school. I know we're not alone in that situation, but we'll persevere like we tell the kids to do it, and I'll do the best I can. But Mrs. Johnson, good luck to you. You're a classic lady.
Our next 4 comments on item 8.0 are from Chris Rogers, Jennifer Williams, Alex Visaya Jr., and Ralph Merletti.
Good evening, board members. My name is Chris Rogers. I'm the parent of 2 Crocker Riverside students. It's a new school year, and I'm hopeful that the district will start fresh by returning the basics back to our public schools. My school has been war-torn from budget cuts, overcrowded from school closures. I'm hoping that this chapter is over. The photos submitted are photos I personally took. These photos are of the first day of school at Crocker Riverside Elementary. Please look at the carpets. These are the carpets that welcome my daughters back to school. These are the carpets that my children walk on, sit on, and breathe around every school day. These are the carpets that have not been cleaned by the district in over 5 years. I've been told that maintenance of the carpets is the district's responsibility, also that there are only 2 district facilities employees who are responsible for the carpets at all 72 schools. I find it hard to believe, but if it's true, it's unreasonable and unacceptable. I hope you will understand why I choose to ignore the district robocalls asking for perfect attendance. The idea that I should care about how much money my district receives for my child's attendance makes no sense when this is what I'm sending them to. These unsanitary conditions could be one of the reasons why they get sick. I'm especially concerned about children with asthma and other sensitive health issues. Even the students are grossed out by their own carpets. In my daughter's class, when their teacher asked them to sit in a circle on the floor, they warn each other not to touch it with their hands. Mr. Hansen will be at our school this coming Saturday providing a lovely pancake breakfast, and I've spoken with our principal, Mr. McCord, and he would be happy to walk Mr. Hansen and Superintendent Banda through a few classrooms to view the carpets and other basic maintenance issues that need care. Maybe you can problem solve and give our students the learning environment that they truly deserve. As we move forward into this new school year, show me how you value great public schools by managing the basics properly. I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, parents, students, faculty, and board members. My name is Jennifer Williams, and I am the mother of 2 Crocker Riverside students also. I noticed a sign on the back of the ladies' room door when I came in this evening that reads, "This restroom is cleaned and restocked every evening." I am sorry to report that this is not the case at my children's school this school year or any other school year. Their restrooms are commonly in disrepair, lack essential supplies such as soap, toilet tissue, and toilet seat covers. While these things concern me, what concerns me most is the mold, which you can clearly see in these photos taken on the first day of school this year. This mold has been present since my daughter was in kindergarten, and she is now a 6th grader. According to the Center of Disease Control and the California Department of Health, black mold is toxic and carries health hazards to all who come in contact with it. In 2011, the CPDH issued a statement on building dampness, mold, and health. CPDH has concluded that the presence of water damage, dampness, visible mold, or mold odor in schools, workplaces, residents, and other indoor environments is unhealthy. They go on to say, "We recommend against measuring indoor microorganisms or using the specific organisms to determine the levels of health hazard or the need for remediation. Rather, we strongly recommend the cleaning or removal of mold and moldy materials as rapidly as possible to protect the health and well-being of building occupants, especially children." This Saturday at Crocker Riverside on September 20th, there'll be a meet and greet breakfast hosted at our school. I propose that rather than use funding to host this pancake breakfast, Board Representative Mr. Hansen, Assembly Member Pan, and our new Superintendent, Dr. Banda, use these funds where they are desperately needed for the health and well-being of our students and our faculty. Thank you in advance for your attention to this matter.
Distinguished board, members, cabinet, and staff. Board President Wu, Superintendent Senior Banda, good evening. I am the aforementioned Alex Visaya Jr., District Parent and Student Advocate. I would like to make a public announcement. The funeral services for our late Principal Rob Jones at Rosemont High School will take place this Saturday, September 22nd at 10 a.m. at St. Mary's Catholic Parish on 58th Street, followed by friendship, camaraderie, and reception at the Scottish Rite Temple across the Sac State University. Thank you.
Thank you.
While our next speaker approaches the microphone, if our final two speakers can please line up, Ian Arnold and Rhonda Muller.
Need the projector again. Good evening once again. I'm Ralph Merletti, and this topic is a continuing, ongoing one. And this is about the partial solar eclipse that's going to occur on October 23rd, a Thursday afternoon, the eclipse starting while students are in school, the middle occurring at 3:15, and the end occurring when most of them are probably home. So, SCUSD has more than a month to get ready for this, unlike waiting for the news media, in which you may get only 1 or 2 days' notice and maybe not the most accurate information. So teachers, administrators, students, and parents, we need to get going on this. So one of the ideas is to search solar eclipse on the internet, then search partial solar eclipse of October 23rd, 2014. Then search for safe ways to watch solar eclipses. What will the Sacramento City Unified School District do about this to give a safe, interesting view, hopefully in the same spirit as to the space shuttle flyover in 2012, when I mentioned last time that we had a beautiful set of pictures set to music from the various schools. It would be good to have as many schools as possible involved with this. And then again, also the safe ways to watch the eclipse. Here's one way. You could put your fingers like this and watch the shadows below you. Or you could look at the shadows of tree leaves. There are all kinds of things to do on this. So remember, we have over a month to get ready for this. I'll say more next time, hopefully with better graphics. This is Old Sacramento. This was my involvement in the Sacramento Valley Astronomical Society of Old Sacramento in June of 2012. SVAS.org is another place to search on the internet. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marletti.
Good evening, President Wu, board members, Superintendent Banda, Ian Arnold, representing SEIU Local 1021. We represent the majority of your classified employees. So I'm up here to talk about the fact that we're in contract negotiations. We are inching our way towards the finish line. I think we're close. Obviously, we're not going to get everything we've asked for at the bargaining table. We didn't expect the district to fall over backwards and give us everything we asked for. But in going into this negotiations, it had all the earmarks of being one of the most contentious battles that I'd ever been involved in. And it is not. It has actually been a very good experience, I think, for the members of my bargaining team, for myself. And I think that is because of the change in direction from the leadership of this school district, beginning with the interim superintendent, Dr. Noguchi, and continuing with Dr. Banda. I do think that your bargaining team has done a fantastic job of explaining to us and having an open dialogue with us, and most importantly, acknowledging the mistakes that were made in the past. That was huge for our folks to hear that we're not just imagining things, that bad things really did happen in the past. Now, all of that said, I do want to say one more thing. As you move into the next year's budget process, let's actually have a process that makes sense. Because in my opinion, what's happened for the last several years is there has been a wish list of things that are wonderful and magical and expensive, and they get put at the top of the list when you're budgeting. Then you get to the bottom of the list when it comes time to pay for the staff to carry out those things, and you realize you've got a huge shortfall, so you come back to our members and tell them they're all laid off, which results in restrooms not being cleaned, maintenance not being done, outreach not being done to parents to help bring kids back to school, and all those things. So working forward, we're happy to work with you. There's a balance between bringing our folks back up to where they were as far as staffing levels and helping to make a down payment on the wage disparity that's existed because of the 5 or 6 years of stagnant wages. But I think this is a good start, and thank you.
Good evening. My name is Rhonda Muller. Welcome, Mr. Banda. It's good to see you. I am a parent and volunteer. It's my 5th year at James Marshall. We talked about having a nice, being able to talk to one another. As a parent, when you make a decision for my school, where my sons go, I want to know before the decision's made. Now, we split our classes. We've lost a teacher. We've disrupted our children into the school year. We're replacing and moving them around. We're moving our teachers around. What are we saving by doing this? We're saving what? 1 teacher's pay. Are our children worth that? Our kindergarten is under-enrolled. We are 2/3 full. 20 kids to a class at 5 years old? Yeah, leave them be. Let them have that little more intimate of a classroom. Why are you crushing us all together and getting rid of a wonderful teacher who just had her school closed last year and got picked up this year with us for 2 weeks or 3 weeks? Now, this agreement and deal was made without any parents knowing what's going on with their children, that they're being moved, that they're putting into split classes. I do not want my 4th grade son in with 5th graders. I know 5th graders. He's not ready for what they know. We're also doing Common Core math and learning new ways of teaching while we're teaching split classes. 1 teacher, 2 classes. How are we going to get our grades up? How are we going to teach our children this way? Cannot you just leave us where we are and just let us be? Or at least talk to the parents. You get a call in the morning, the principal has a meeting, another meeting, and tomorrow, the next day, the decision's made. No parents know. None of these parents. They got a note sent home yesterday. This is all taking place on Monday. It's a done deal, I'm told, and cannot be reversed. There's supposed to be transparency. We're supposed to be communicating. You need to talk with the parents. It is the parents who kept the school open last year. It is the parents who put you in your seat where you are now. We trust that you are speaking for us. Thank you.
Item 9.0, consent agenda.
President.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. I did see you. Member Rodriguez.
Thank you. I just have a comment to make, or maybe a question to throw out about the leveling. Every year we go through this, and I think that it's time to have a broader conversation about what are the solutions to leveling. So I strongly feel that conversation needs to take place with the teachers who are experiencing the pain and the parents who are experiencing the greatest amount of stress over it, because why can't my kids stay at this school, and why did they now need to be bused to another school, or why does my child have to be moved from a class, or why is my child now in a split class? I was a parent who, my child was in a split class, and we tried it. We didn't complain about it. And we worked together with the principal and the teacher, and the other teacher in the school to look at the best placement for my daughter because she just wasn't ready for a split class. Some children are, some children are not. But these types of issues take a whole lot of coordination. So if we can set some kind of work group up district-wide, I know that we're experiencing this right now from a very good vocal group from one of our schools in the district, but it's just not happening just at James Marshall, it's everywhere. You know, and I know that a lot of my schools have split classes. And then to Mr. Merletti, I would appreciate some assistance in maybe a fact sheet or so of what you know about solar eclipse and maybe some resources so that it allows me to have conversations with some of my community and school principals to see if we can organize a watch party of some sort. Because I myself think it's really super cool that this opportunity is out there and we could get kids and parents engaged in all of this. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. And thank you, Mr. DeYoung, for advocating for our summer school programs. That was last week's or the last time's agenda, but it should never die. Thank you for bringing it forward.
Thank you, Member Pritchett. Vice President Pritchett.
Thank you. I just wanted to echo Member Rodriguez's comments, and I would like to propose that we do add an agenda item in the near future in regard to leveling of grades. So I just want that to go on record.
Okay. Thank you. Now back to item 9.0, consent agenda. You have a motion? You have a motion? Do you have a second? Second? Any discussion? All those in favor by signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 10.0, Board Workshop Strategic Plan and Other Initiatives. 10.1, approve the resolution number 2811.
Good evening, Board President Wood, Superintendent Banda, and members of the board. The reason we are here tonight is to ask you to approve Resolution 2811, Estimated Gun Limit Appropriation Limitation for Fiscal Year 2014-15, and Gun Amendment Calculation for Fiscal Year 2013-14. Before we ask you for your approval, we will discuss what is the gun limit calculation, we will explain the calculation, and we will also tell you why we do it. Let's take one question at a time. What is the gun limit calculation? After Proposition 13 passed in 1978, the movement continued to reduce government spending. And in 1979, Proposition 4 passed. And the intention was to limit government spending. And in 1979, Proposition 4 passed. And the intention was to limit state, local government, including school districts, cities, counties. The founder of Proposition 4 was Paul Gunn. By the way, he was also the co-founder of Proposition 13. The gun limit says all government spending, including counties and school districts, cannot be greater than the population and inflation. The school districts use change in ADA to determine the change in population. Now we know the gun limit is really Proposition 4. Let's explain the calculation. The actual calculation is in your package, but like they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and in this case, this picture represents the process of the gun limit calculation. Imagine that in this bucket we have $250 million. That is the district gun limit. What is in the bucket counts as the district gun limit. What goes outside the bucket is part of the state gun limit calculation. All are district funds, but only the ones that are inside, they are really only property taxes, and in this case, the LCFF funds are part of the district's gun limit calculations. Categorical funds are part of the state the state's gun limit calculations, government funds, federal funds, and local grants are not part of the calculation of neither the state or the school district. Now, the third question is, why does the school district do it? Mainly because it's on the state constitution, it is the law. Second, it really helps the state being over his own gun limit. And third, it helps determine if school districts are over his own gun. The Board of Education could adopt a resolution to increase the gun limit by the amount needed, and then we will need to inform the California Director of Finance, who should reduce the state gun limit by the equal dollar amount. This is Government Code Section 7902.1. However, this is not the case here. The gun limit is largely a pro forma calculation that no longer constrains government expenditures. This is because the limit, or you can think about the bucket, has grown significantly larger than the appropriations or the revenues the school districts receive. They are subject to the limit. We are respectfully asking you to approve Resolution 2811 that the board has been approving since 1979 under the consent agenda. In our next board meeting, we will discuss the 2013-4 and narrative actions. In December, we will discuss the first interim, and in January, our cycle starts again for the 2015-6 budget calendar. And the governor also proposes his budget in January. At this point, I'm open up for questions, and I have 30 seconds left.
Thank you, Mr. Castillo. We have no public comments. Any questions or comments from my colleagues? Oh, Member Rodriguez.
Thank you, President Wu, and also thank you, Mr. Castillo. Just want to let the board know that I did have some questions before I came to the board meeting today, and I really appreciate Mr. Castillo's time that he took to call me to discuss this item. So I want to review what we discussed. And over the phone, I had asked you, does the district, if you can give us an example of whether the district gains or loses from this. So if you can repeat your response to that.
Yeah, it's really, it's not a gains or lose, it's just it's a requirement, a mandate that we need to do. However, what the district earns or wins is that we don't get an additive funding in a negative point within the state. So if we will not adopt a resolution, we will not do it, what will be the auditors, when they do an audit report, this is something that they check, done or not done, they will put it in the audit report and that will go to the state. So the states watch for that. So because this is really helping the state, mainly because the revenues that they give to the district don't count against the state's gun limit. So if we don't do it, it could be a penalty, like in financial, like say, well, you haven't done it in 2 years, we're gonna hold a portion, or the superintendent could receive a letter, this is not done, you have to comply, you have to prove that you've done it. But so that's what we gain, and we comply with the law.
My other question was that, I've sat on this board for 6 years, and this was the first time that we had spoke about it in the public meeting. So, you want to explain the response that you could provide it to me?
Yeah, because it really is compliance issue. There's really not big deal. It's not like we're getting more revenue or you have authority to do more expenditures. So it has been in the consent agenda because it's, like I say, it's more like a requirement that it is. And we have made so many, that the school districts have received so many cash during the year that it's not really even an issue. I mean, we do it because it's still is in the law, Proposition 4. I actually was reviewing, I reviewed 8 school districts to see anybody that's in cooling section, and most of them, they just do it in consent agenda. I did not find one that's it. It was hard for me to find the picture, so how can I explain that? because even though it's something to do with the calculation, still really complicated. So I just want to see, I put a picture there, hopefully the board and the public who's watching understand mainly why we do the gun limit calculation.
So just one more question that I didn't ask you because it's based off of the presentation. So if my understanding is correct on this GAN limit, is that we are really limiting ourselves as a school district from spending on education because of this Prop 4, due to the state not wanting us to overspend. Is that
yeah, and really you look at the history back from Proposition 4 and 13, at that point in time, the population in the state was growing, and it appears the government spending was growing. And so every time they say, how can you spend more money in public government? Oh, because we have more people, we're growing. So therefore they say, okay, we will do, okay, you can grow, but no greater than the population and what we give you funds. But like I said, the funds for the school districts has been below the population. That's really it's not an issue anymore.
Okay. And I just want to make a commentary is that, I think it's pretty discouraging for the state to put a cap on spending in education. I can see a cap on spending in other governmental agencies, and I've worked for many myself. But when it comes to education, what we do know is that when we put more resources into education, we get a better outcome in it. So it's nothing directed to you, more toward the general listening group out there, and hopefully some of these people are government officials in the decision-making body where they can make a difference, that school districts should be afforded more money because we're looking at the future of our workforce. And when we're constantly getting our funding cut to the point where we have to shut schools down and cut programs out, then it can't be good for the future of California or the future of Sacramento. That's all I want to say. It's nothing directed toward you, though. Thank you for bringing this to up for discussion, because it is a very important item. And thank you for your time again.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments, Mr. Castillo? Okay, then action item. Do I have a motion to approve? I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Objections? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Item 10.2, board governance discussion. Superintendent.
So this is a request from board wanting to kind of have an initial discussion, at least around school governance. I think in the past it's kind of changed, and I think they're ready to look at it again and see where they fit in, what their role is, and how they can continue to provide guidance. So improving student achievement requires strong, effective leadership at the helm of every school district, with school board members working at the policy level, and then with the administrators or the district and school administrators working more at the operational level. Together, they can work as a governance management team to ensure that continuous improvement happens in the district, and these continuous improvement efforts should address things like setting vision, establishing goals, developing policy that guides the work, allocating the resources to make sure that the resources are there to support the work that's been outlined, and then assuring accountability. So what the board was provided to at least initiate this initial discussion are 3 different examples of guiding principles of governance or good practices. And one comes from California School Board Association. There's an actual research article in here that comes from the National Association School Board Educators. And then there's a third one that comes from, because I was in Washington recently, the Washington State School Directors Association, that attempts to spell out what the role of the board is and how they can continue to work in their governance and policy role to lead the district forward and continuing to improve and address student needs and issues. So with that, I'll hand it back over to our board president.
So just to begin the discussion, Superintendent Banda made available to us. Foundations of Effective Governance, of course, is kind of a beginning class on governance put on by the California School Board Association. I know that Member Rodriguez is going to attend, myself, and Member and Vice President Pritchett next week, and Mr. Hanson. This will give us a foundation or the basis for beginning to discuss where we can go with governance. I also note that California School Board Association, to which we are now, we have been a member for several years, has a Masters of Governance program. Vice President Pritchett and I had some discussions with members of the California School Board Association, and also President Kennedy when he was on the school board with CSBA about the Masters of Governance program. They are available, and the beauty of the CSBA program is because we were members, is a fairly significant discount. But I only mention this as some of the options that are available to us. I think that one of the great options of being a CSBA member. But I would like to first take this Foundations of Effective Governance class and then report back share some ideas with our colleagues and see where we want to move from there. Member Arroyo.
Thank you, President Wu. This is a conversation long coming, and I am extremely happy that we are at this point where we're actually talking about our current governance model and where to move forward. Specifically, I really wanted to take a moment to really advocate to do one thing first, and is to bring the item of coherent governance for outright elimination from our policies. We have a binder of board policies that the board used to operate for many, many years, and we can continue to go there and use that and still not curtail any further board development or training that we can move forward with. For those that are not familiar with what coherent governance is, and the conversation has come to the point where people are asking, and I don't know how many of the board members here remember or know. Well, it's only two of us, right? But I mean, at least if you were not on the board listening to the dialogue at the time. And the original purpose was some board members felt that the board was micromanaging or getting into a lot of discussions that, were hampering the board from getting through with its business. And to some degree, I can probably concur that there is a possibility where boards can become too, can cross the line and start micromanaging the superintendent. But in this instance, I wanted to kind of explain what then coherent governance was attempting to do, which was basically prescribe to a very detailed manner the role of the board, how it would engage with the superintendent, and prescribe that the only point of contact between the board and the district was through the superintendent. And while that is a governance model that existed even before, I think that it really curtailed a lot of the dialogue that could have existed between the board and the district. Just so that, and this is a visual of what I remember talking to folks back in the day when it was adopted, is, well, what is coherent governance? Basically, what I explained to them, this is the U.S. Constitution and the California Constitution that basically gives us a lot of the framework of how we operate. And then within California, we have an education code that really prescribes basically all the statutes that we need to be operating under here in the state of California. And then we had board bylaws that were not in conflict with any of those things, that gave more definition as to how we should operate. And then on top of that, there was the coherent governance model that laid on top of that, basically gave more specificity, and I think to some point really restricted the board from really doing some of its work. I think that what the people were doing when they were advocating for coherent governance is to have a board that had a balance, that understood its role of policy, of working collaboratively with the superintendent. But what we ended up having, I think, in my experience over the last few years, is a system of governance that really was less transparent, and that it was, I think, in some instances used to circumvent the board. There were instances where parents, students came to me and said, we're threatened by a principal, huge issues, bring it to the superintendent, and the issue never went further. I mean, it was basically just leave it to the superintendent, and we had no more role beyond that, and it was coherent governance that was used as the rationale why we couldn't, ask any further questions. I don't disagree. We cannot, as a board, micromanage the superintendent. That's why we hire someone that has many years of experience, that knows how to run schools, that knows how to handle the administration of the district. Yet I think that we need to use what we have on the books and then plus our current bylaws to govern, and then on top of that, have the training and the team development that needs to happen at the board in order to be efficient, in order to carry out not only our role as board members, but also carry the wishes and the needs of the district so that they get met in a collaborative manner with the superintendent. So having said that, I would like to specifically ask that the board bring this to the next board agenda so that we can vote to not have it, so that, number one, is we have a brand new superintendent that needs to deal with coherent governance and start doing reports. And I think it's a lot of work that would distract him from the work that he needs to get done in order to move the district forward. And so eliminating coherent governance at this point will leave us with a full set of bylaws that we have had on, and number two, it would not curtail us from actually moving forward with board development and training. So having said that, I think that I try to give a succinct description of what coherent governance has been, and ask that we have it on the next agenda for action to remove and then continue the work of training and development.
Thank you. Okay, we have, Member Rodriguez.
Yeah. I guess the two people who have been here now the longest are going to be very opinionated about this. If I recall correctly, my board colleague, Member Arroyo, called coherent governance with training wheels, because basically what it was. I mean, you saw the layers of everything that was created, and I never was for this. In fact, I myself and Member Arroyo were the two that voted no on coherent governance. Not to throw the baby out with the bathwater, though. I think that there was some things in this coherent governance that were certainly something that we should look into doing. Perhaps the monitoring of policy, which this board had not done in the past. The board had created committees, and within these committees, certain board members felt empowered, and then used it for other means, and I think that's what you were trying to get at and explain. We're a different board today. We're a highly intelligent board, and I think the boards of the future are highly intelligent, and I really want to not step on the issue of having to bring back any piece of governance model that would discourage the use of the gifts and talents that each board member today and in the future brings to this board. So I'm just going to say this plainly and simply. This is what a board does. The board creates policy. We hire a superintendent to implement that policy. And in order for this board to create policy, we have to have committees. We need to bring back committees. Then within these committee structures, then we have to set up a system of how do we monitor those policies, the implementation of them, the adoption of them, making sure that they're on the agenda, making sure that we have proper minutes, proper set meetings for all of this, and then also that we set that scheduling up for what does monitoring look like. And then, we start working there, and then we start becoming a more fully functional board. Tomorrow at the training, I'm going to be looking for those threads, because there should be no reason during any kind of governance training why we should be looking at something similar to the model of coherent governance. Because like I said, simply, we create policy, the superintendent implements it. There's no need to go further and beyond that. It's very simple. We have board policy right now that has never gone away. It's always been there, and we can operate with board policy until we get our committees established and we start getting things back on the roll again. The legislature works like that. If coherent governance was so great, why isn't the legislature operating that way? That's all I have to say.
Member Cuneo.
Thank you, Board Member Wu. So my comments will be pretty focused on a couple things. I think number one, what I've seen lacking coherent governance or not is a kind of holistic accountability model that we can all agree on and have a discussion around that focuses on achievement in the classroom, the conditions around learning, and what we expect from staff. Everybody from custodians to principals to administration to teachers. And, for me, we made a lot of headway with the Guide to Success, and I felt that the Guide to Success was an inclusive conversation that dealt with the issues that our community had concerns about and wanted to see implemented. So moving forward, the overarching theme needs to be around achievement, needs to be about student outcomes, but it needs to be about accountability, not in the kind of pejorative negative sense, but in the sense that we're always seeking to improve our practices, our policies, our instruction, and our delivery of resources. And if we don't have a common conversational piece, which to me is the Guide to Success, then we will continue to kind of dither as a board around holding people accountable, making sure that resource allocation is done equitably and judiciously. And so without that kind of system, I think we will be ineffective, in my opinion. And I've been a big believer that the Guide to Success can kind of change the paradigm of not only how our district operates, but also how our board operates. And I think can be committee structures within that paradigm. I think there can be a lot of different things that board members can get involved in and weigh in on a day-to-day basis. But until we truly have something that makes sense where our entire organization, our entire school district can be on the same page, I don't think us as a board is going to be truly effective at the end of the day.
Thank you, Member Cuneo. Vice President Bridget.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank my fellow board colleagues for your comments in regards to this. And I think one thing that I would like to advocate on is on top of attending these classes and learning about them, is also working together. And I think that also doing some board workshops or board retreats on top of this so we can learn how to work together and make the system work is going to be very important. So I look forward to attending the CSBA conference meeting next week and getting together with my fellow board members as to what we have learned from this.
Thank you. Member Rodriguez.
Thank you again. I know that this is titled as the discussion, so I hope I'm not stepping on anybody's toes here. But I think I want to thank Member Cuneo for bringing up his comments because that is exactly why what the confusion is here. Coherent governance try to tie in and do too much with all of these tenets that you put forth about the accountability, student achievement and outcomes, classroom environment, and so on and so forth. All of that stuff is your strategic plan. We have a strategic plan, and it's so disconnected from everything else. And I know that one of the goals that Superintendent Banda plans to do is look at our strategic plan and update this. And we need to be able to separate out strategic plan versus policy. Strategic plan sets the goals, policy aligns the goals up. That's what policy does. So you don't have to have coherent governance. Coherent governance is an obstacle, actually, to getting to the outcomes that you want, because you have to untie these both right now. We have to untie them, and we have a perfect opportunity to do so. Let the superintendent go and work on the strategic plan, get that updated, get us back into teaching and learning and focus into the classroom with the outcomes and the accountability in classroom environments and safety. Then we align our policies up. Whatever we see a policy and that needs to be aligned up with that strategic plan, then we take it to appropriate committees, and then we start working on aligning those policies so that the superintendent implements throughout the district. We set policies for finance, we set policies for teaching and learning, we set policies for our physical structures that we have. And then we can operate as a fully functional board, moving forward all together as a team.
Thank you, Member Rodriguez. Member Cuneo.
Yeah, no, and I don't disagree with anything you said. Coherent governance, I mean, I agree with Member Arroyo in regards to, the governance model that came before coherence governance can probably be just as well served as coherent governance structure is. But what I'm mostly pushing for is a more coherent conversation at the board level around specifics, specific policies and things, and then regularly monitoring those types of things. So one of my big bugaboos over the last 4 years has been kind of, we make policy, we set policy, and then it just kind of falls off a cliff and we don't see it, and we don't look at it, and we don't see if it worked or not worked. So what I'm pushing for, and it's not coherent governance, what I'm actually pushing for is a governance structure that forces us, for lack of a better word, I guess, to resolve ourselves to certain indicators, to have certain conversations, and to continually have those conversations. And, what's important to one board member, I mean, I think we have some consensus up here about what's important. I don't think we're going to be that far astray. But that's where I would like the governance piece, and whatever kind of model that becomes, I'm pretty open to it. But I really think we've not done a great job around not just, it's the monitoring and the implementation of the policies and being able to have some accountability for the decisions we made and to effectively understand the ramifications of those policies on kids, if they're working, if they're not. And if they're not working, then to have the conversation about where we should go from here. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. And what you're describing is how this board used to function before we went into coherent governance. We had committees, and each committee chair was required to come back to the board and report on what the work was at the committee. So there was that sense of monitoring that happened. And we had to have a report at least once a month. We had to meet at least once a month, each committee. And so under coherent governance, we never had any committees. And when we did have committees, people didn't take them so seriously that they never met, or they're just dysfunctional because they never seen a functional committee work in this district. So, it is frustrating for me as well because we're not seeing the accountability structure. We're not seeing, the monitoring part of it. It's. I mean, if you can imagine, I've lived here on this board where there was a day like that. And, I'm eager. I'd like to get back into it. Because that's where the real work happens. And that I remember specifically Jerry Hausman, board member Hausman, telling me that. He's like, Diana, the real work happens in the committees. And I remember him having a concern over me being a mom and being so busy that I wasn't going to be able to give time for the committee work. And at the end of it, he said, wow, you did put a lot of time into it, and you dedicated some valuable insight onto these committees. So that's what I'm talking about. We need to go back. We need to get back into alignment. We need to let the superintendent do a strategic plan. We need to do our work into policy, and we need to work together. That's how we work together as a team. And I like your insight. I like what you're asking for. And, it almost kind of saddens me that you had to live on this board like this, for the past few years. And I want to be able to be a guide here before, the next 2 years come up, into getting us back into the way we used to be and how we could be functional again.
Thank you. Member Arroyo?
Thank you, President Wu. To Member Cunha, and I think that I could not agree more with you on having an effective model of governance that ensures that we have that we're meeting our goals, that we have accountability. I just did not see it happening with coherent governance. We would get reports from the superintendent where he would report back with a narrative, whether he was meeting the goals or not. And lo and behold, every single one of them, he met them, right? And I'm not to say that there was not work behind it. My point to you is that we were not any better off understanding ourselves as board members where we needed to go. And I think that what I rather have is a simpler version of governance, but more effective, right? Where we set the agenda as far as what is it that we really want to monitor. And then I concur with you. Many times we would ask a path or a policy and not really hear back many times. And I think that all of us are in agreement of wanting to see that. And I, for one, would. In terms of committees, I like the idea of committees. I just want to make sure that the board has a very deliberate understanding of what committee work is for and what it's out there to achieve. Without any proper understanding, we can get into these rabbit holes. And what I really would concur with the superintendent or any superintendent, the last thing we want to do is create another layer of demands on staff with already overstretched. And so if the idea of the committee is to study, discern, and then report back information so that it's more digested and the board is better off understanding that information, because on wanting or not, the fact is, as a board member, we have a very different perspective as a member of the staff. Staff have a pile of work, they have to plow through it, they have to deliver an outcome, and as board members, our job is to actually look at the horizon and see where we need to go, and to see if things are lining up with where we see the community wanting us to go. And committees can help us study and bring some idea and better vision and resolution to what those ideas could be. So I am all for committees as long as we have a very clear understanding where we're going with them and that they are not going to become a double, triple work on staff on getting the work that they already need to do. That's my comment.
Thank you, Member Rowe. Mr. Ross informs me we have some public comment.
Thank you, President Wu. We have 2 comments on this item from Ian Arnold and Angie Sutherland.
President Wu, board members, Superintendent Banda, I kind of almost feel like, I'm sorry, Ian Arnold, I almost feel like being a smart aleck and getting up here and playing back what I said at this very podium just about a year ago. So Superintendent Banda, please don't take any of this personally. It's not addressed at you in particular. Coherent governance as practiced by this board is an oxymoron. It absolutely is. It didn't work. It was ridiculous. It was a joke. And I say that with all the best intentions. I really do. It is not the board's place, nor should it be, to try to micromanage the superintendent. If you've got a good superintendent, the board should set policy and give the superintendent broad authority to carry out that policy and then hold him accountable. It's not the most difficult thing in the world. You just have to have time to do it. And part of that is having, as you've said, committees. What was happening previously under the alleged coherent governance is the superintendent was reporting back on a monthly basis to the board and saying, this is what the policy says. This is how I choose to interpret that policy this month. It may be completely different than last time. And this is my proof to you that I am in compliance. And as I said about a year ago, the staff works for the superintendent works for you work for the public. And I think the board abdicated its responsibility under that process. Because on at least one occasion, I was able to come up here and show very specifically that the superintendent was not in compliance and asked for a vote of this board to find the superintendent out of compliance, and we couldn't get there. It was a tied vote the first month, the second month it was not brought to a vote. And I think the board absolutely abdicated its authority by allowing it to go there. And I'm asking that, not that, again, that you micromanage the superintendent, but that you actually act in the manner in which you were elected to act. Your job is to give the superintendent guidance. And if the superintendent comes back to you and says, I can't do that because ABC, listen to him, take that into account. If the superintendent does do what you ask him to do, give him the appropriate reward. And if he fails to do what you ask him to do, again, hold him accountable. But coherent governance was not the way to go. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Arnold.
Hi again, I'm Angie Sutherland. I'm a parent, and my daughter goes to Hollywood Park. And Member Cunha and Rodriguez, you took the words out of my mouth and why I came up here to speak, that I was hoping that, I don't know if the district board actually has its own strategic goals and objectives, or if it just has board meetings, and that's the engaging with the public. I was hoping that you would have district committees started back up, and also that there would be liaisons from the board at all of the parent advisory committees. I don't know if DLAC has one. I believe Member Pritchett is the DAC liaison. CAC doesn't have one, and I don't know if SAC Council PTA, but okay. So that would get the board more out there to listen to how things are going, and because they're making the decisions on allocating the resources and holding accountability. And I think that having the committees and having liaisons to the district committees would help with that. So just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sutherland. Okay. So I think we're asked to provide direction to the staff on the next steps. I think for the time being, what I heard is there are a number of us who will be attending a workshop and we'll be reporting back, or a class on governance. But for the next agenda, I think that we'll put on the agenda the elimination of coherent governance as a model to be followed by this board. Okay? Thank you. Yes. Superintendent?
Yeah, I just want to comment. So I really appreciate all the comments from board. I think everything you highlighted today is important because it is a team effort. It's called a governance team, and it's working with the board, the elected official board, board members working in conjunction with the superintendent, who has his leadership team to set course. So I'm really looking forward to the conversation. I think it will take a little bit of time, but we're moving in that direction. I think that the trainings that are available are going to be helpful for those who are able to attend. I agree with our board member Pritchett that it takes more than just the training. We have to have the conversation. So we have talked in executive with our executive group about setting up some Saturday retreats or some time when we can get together and have some substantive time to really have the discussion. I don't think an hour is really, or half hour is really enough time to do that, but definitely once we get things settled and figure out where we want to go with that, so that we are very thoughtful about what kind of committees we set up and what the purpose of those committees are. I heard that today too, because it is, again, a team effort. The strategic plan will be a key part of that. It sets the foundation for the work we're going to be doing and what's a priority. And then the board goals become superintendent goals. We're very focused. We're very transparent. I heard a parent say, that would be nice to know what it is that you settled on in terms of supporting children. And so I look forward to the journey. It is a journey. Just want to let the board know. But having this conversation, I think, tonight is the start of that.
Thank you, Superintendent. I too look forward to the journey. Item 11.0, Business and Financial Information Reports. 11.1, I think we have a public comment.
Yes, we have a public comment on 11.1 from Ralph Merletti.
I'll need the
Overhead?
Yeah, the projector again here. Let's see, I've circled it here.
What page, Mr. Marletti?
This is page 134. Let's see, 097. It's just after the start of the purchase reports there. And here is what I have to say. But once again, my name is Ralph Marletti. And this thing here, this purchase order number B1500342, for the purchase report time of 7/15 to 8/14/2014. The vendor is Stericycle Incorporated. How many of you around here really know what this organization is, what they do, all the things they do? Here it gives a medical assisting program, instructional supplies, new skills and business ed center, and the count amount was just over $17,000. I looked at their website today, but you'd never know what they really do on the side unless you've been involved in some of the activities that I have been, such as 40 Days for Life outside abortion facilities, counseling, praying, and holding signs, and a few other things like that. Now, once a week, a Stericycle truck visits local abortion facilities in the Sacramento area, including Planned Parenthood at 29th and B and Women's Health Specialists at Ethan Way and Hallmark near the State Fairgrounds, which is where the 40 Days for Life campaign takes place in another week. The white truck unloads an empty orange wastebasket and picks up another orange wastebasket containing so-called medical waste. Guess what's included in that container? The remains of unborn babies that have been aborted by one or more savage methods such as dismemberment, vacuuming, or chemical scalding. The truck eventually collects it all and goes out to the Bay Area. This sounds like the sci-fi horror movies of the previous century that deal with the theme of supposed or perceived population problems to be controlled. Check out the movies on DVD like Soylent Green and others and see if we aren't doing something like that today. So I urge the Sacramento City Unified School District to find another vendor for those services as listed in this here. Let's find a life-affirming vendor for the services that they offer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marletti. We received 11.1, 11.2 Head Start, early Head Start reports. Any comments on that? Okay, we received that information. 12.0 future board meeting dates and locations. October 2nd, 12/14, beginning at 4:30 for closed session, 6:30 for open session here, as well as October 16th, 2014, 4:30 for closed session, 6:30 for open session here. Item 13.0, adjournment. Do I have a motion? I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.